Sandy says read, and welcome to the channel. Today, you guys, we are going to do a book review. This is a review of 9 Liars by Maureen Johnson. And let's get the glare off of it so you can see this cover. 9 Liars. All right. What do I need to tell you first? Right off the bat, I was going to tell you that Maureen Johnson is the author whom I enjoyed the most in this book, Let It Snow. Back in December 2023, I was doing some Christmas content for you guys here at the channel, and I read this book, Let It Snow, which has 3 novellas in it. And Maureen's story, The Jubilee Express, was my favorite out of the 3. So I was looking for some content for the clock reading challenge here on Sandy Says Read, and I saw the title 9 Liars, which has the number 9 in the title, which is the number 9 for our clock reading challenge, and it's by Maureen Johnson. And I went, ooh, yeah, I remember Maureen. Maureen had the story that I liked so much from that little set. So I thought, okay, I was going to give it a try and see if I liked her lengthy novels as much as I liked her little novella. And I did. I liked it a lot, in fact. So let's talk about 9 Liars. Before we begin, I do want to remind you all to please subscribe to the channel. If you're not already a subscriber, please do so. Please click the bell notification icon so that you're notified each time we do book reviews, booktube tags, interviews, live stream interviews with bookish people here on the booktube channel of Sandy Says Read. Yay! Enough of that. Let's dive in and let's do the specs as we do here at the channel. This is the number 9 on the clock reading challenge. And you might be thinking, whoa, did we miss a whole bunch of numbers? No, I'm just doing it out of order. All right. This is 9 Liars by Maureen Johnson. The copyright is 2022 by HarperCollins Publishers. Because it's 2022, I'm going to be real careful not to give away a bunch of spoilers. Okay. This is a murder mystery story. It's a whodunit kind of thing. I'm going to be really careful not to give away whodunit. Okay. I'm going to be cautious, careful. There are some things that are probably going to be a little spoilery because just talking about different characters and different plot points. I mean, some things I'm going to talk about, but I'm not going to give away the ending. I'm not going to give away important stuff. Okay, I'm going to be careful because it's only 2 years old. There's probably a lot of folks out there who haven't read it yet. And I don't want to give away. All right. Let's see. It's written in past tense, third person most of the time. There's just some clever devices that Maureen has used in here to give information, to help the reader see things that went on, especially in the past, and clever things that she's done. For example, you can hear my neighbors going up and down the street. Yeah. Yay. Okay. There's, for example, there's a handful of police transcripts that we can read. Okay. Police transcripts that, we get to see how different characters answer different questions from the police. There's police reports. There's like a newspaper story. There's little things like that that are given to the reader in here, nicely, cleverly woven in. There's no big, huge info dump sort of thing with that. They're just cleverly worked in. And I'm going to talk about where those land too. Okay. All right. Let's see. It is 445 pages, and we have a map in the beginning of this. Okay. You know how usually you get a map in like a fantasy book, right? No. In this one, this is, contemporary fiction, right? We have a map. This is the map of Merriweather. Merriweather is the name of the estate where one of our characters, where he lives, where he grew up, and he's going to inherit this estate from his family. And this is his home. It's a fancy schmancy English manor, okay, with like a gardens, plural. It's a murder mystery that takes place at an English manor. It's nicely done. Okay, so there's our fancy thing, and it's referenced. How should I say this? Maureen doesn't say, go look at the map to see where this happens, but she references through the dialogue, through the story, through the narrative, that these kids were playing hide and seek one night, right? And some of the kids were hiding, like one was hiding on top of this pergola. One of them was hiding behind this hedgerow, right? So if you wanted to, you could come back to this map and you could see where the different characters were hiding. It's very nicely done. All right, I wrote down here, an English country house mystery. Okay, so let me read the back cover for you. 7 suspects, 2 murders, 1 killer still playing a deadly game. Senior year at Ellingham Academy isn't going well for Stevie Bell. Her boyfriend, David, is studying in London. Her friends are obsessed with college applications. With the cold case of the century solved, Stevie is adrift. Relief comes when David invites Stevie and her friends to join him for study abroad, and his new friend Izzy introduces Stevie to a double murder cold case. In 1995, 9 friends from Cambridge University went to a country house and played a drunken game of hide and seek. 2 were found in the woodshed the next day, murdered with an axe. And now one of the remaining 7 realizes that she saw something she can't explain. Someone's lying about what happened in the woodshed. Nice, creepy. Yeah, very creepy. All right, so I wrote, Sandy's synopsis. I wrote, Stevie Bell and her 3 friends get permission to spend Thanksgiving break in England, where her boyfriend David has been studying. David's friend Izzy has an aunt with a secret, a mystery for Stevie to solve. Now, when I picked this up, I didn't realize that Stevie Bell and her mystery-solving abilities are part of a series. And this is a standalone story. It's its own mystery story, okay? But I didn't realize that the Stevie Bell mystery series was a thing. I thought I was picking up a book, just a book, but it's a book in a series. But you don't have to read the other books in the series to know what's going on. You don't have to read the other books in the series to jump into Stevie's head. We jump right into her head easily. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, it's a good standalone book. What else in my notes? Okay, we do have, let's see, good, cute humor from Nate. Okay, Nate is one of Stevie's friends, and let's give you that example on page 84. Okay, when they arrive, when the 3 friends and Stevie, so the 4 friends, when the 4 friends arrive in England, Stevie gets a text message from David, her boyfriend, and like he's not going to meet them or something, like he's not going to be there. So things aren't starting off on the right foot. So early in the drive, Stevie had been texting updates to David. She had been too entranced to do so for the last half hour and only now looked down at her phone to see a message. Sorry, something has come up. I'll try to see you tonight. Her eyes almost filled with tears. What? V said. Stevie held out the message for them to read. It's fine, V said. We'll unpack and then you'll see him. I'll try to see you tonight? What the actual hell? Nate leaned over and read the message as well. Oh, good, he said. I was hoping for some weird tension. Okay, Nate is good at that kind of like one-off, one-line, good sarcasm, but it's like not that weird sarcasm and like angry sarcasm that you get out of like those angsty female characters in, I probably shouldn't have said it that way. You know how there are some female characters written these days that are like ultra sarcastic and, sarcastic bitch characters? Nate is not like that. He's fun. He's clever, and he's fun. He's good. He's a good character. He's a good sidekick. He's a good friend to Stevie, okay? Even when Stevie does something later that's almost underhanded, okay? Our main character, she does something that's almost underhanded. And Nate is like, hey, you've done something here that you need to come clean about. But he's good to her. He's kind to her. He comes clean with her. And he says, look, he levels with her, right? And she understands, yeah, you're right. I need to come clean. He's a good friend to her, all right? And he's a good character. I liked Nate. I liked his sarcasm. I liked his level of sarcasm. All right. Then let's see, we also have humor from Stevie. All right, now Stevie's humor sometimes is like self-deprecating, and she has an awful lot of self-doubt. Stevie's got some complexity to her, all right? And let's see, her self-doubt, one of the less harmful examples is on page 86. On page 86, Stevie had been gripping a 10-pound note in a sweaty hand for the last half hour of the trip, and she presented it to the driver before he left. She was unsure from his look whether this was a lot or a shameful pittance. She decided she would worry about this for days. It would wake her up at night. Okay, Stevie does have anxiety, right? And I think that I identified with Stevie several times throughout this book, right? I identified with that sense of, did I do the right thing? Am I saying the right thing? Is this the right thing to do in this instance? I identified with her an awful lot in this story, even though she's, like a senior in high school type age, right? Still, I could identify with an awful lot of her thought processes. Then there were other thought processes where I was like, Stevie, chickadee, what are you doing? What's going on? But she's a much younger character, right? So we're seeing her grow. We're seeing her go through an arc. We're seeing her go through that moment where she does something that's almost underhanded, right? We see her grow. We see her figure some things out in this story, which is nice. Let's see what I got written down here. Yeah, okay. Stevie has a full-blown panic attack in this book. Maureen spells out for us what Stevie goes through, shows us her mind, shows us her emotions build and just get fuzzy, right? We see that, and we see her cope with it. We see David assist her with it. We see her, medicate herself and sleep it off, and we see how that affects her. We see how her friends are supportive of her in that. We see that mental health aspect of Stevie, and it resonates. It resonated with me as I was reading it. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So I thought that was a very good and helpful thing for Maureen to include in here. Stevie isn't just like going through the motions and solving a mystery and having, her typical teenage angst type of stuff. She really does have a I don't want to call it a disorder. She really does have a mental health moment where she's like, look, I'm panicked about this and I feel it coming on. And David is able to assist her with that. And we see a very realistic view of how to move through that and handle it, right? I thought that was nice of her to include. All right, let's see. I wrote down here, yeah, I found this believable, but sad. It was sad that it's sad that any of us have to go through a panic attack, right? But it was believable. Here's something interesting. There is the principal of the school, Ellingham Academy. The principal of the school is Dr. Quinn, and Dr. Quinn is this almost like foreboding presence, right? She's the authority figure who gives these four permission to go study abroad for a week over Thanksgiving. And she's the one who's like, okay, I'm going to be checking in on you. I'm going to be making sure that you are actually going to touristy spots of interest and learning things and taking notes and preparing to write a paper when you return, that kind of thing. She's interested in them using this vacation as a study abroad moment. She's interested in their studies, in their future, in their learning from this, right? So she's calling and checking in on Stevie. She's calling and checking in on each of them. And that felt intermittent. Like we didn't get regular calls from Dr. Quinn. That felt intermittent to me. And I did not get the sense that Dr. Quinn was as understanding of Stevie's mental health journey or Stevie's, like her panic attacks or the things that are happening in Stevie's life. I just didn't get the feeling that Dr. Quinn knew of them or understood them. And maybe she wasn't supposed to. Maybe the authority figure doesn't know about those things. I don't know. I wasn't clear on that. But Stevie's friends were aware of it and were there for her and did help her through some things. All right. So I wanted to talk about the different chapters and how the story is presented to the reader. I am not going to tell you what happens in these chapters because I'm not giving away what's happening in this book. But I am going to show, I'm hoping that I'm going to show you how this is laid out and how it is presented to the reader, because I found it, first of all, I found it easy to follow and logical. Okay, so we start with a prologue. The prologue tells us about the nine. Okay, the nine are these nine characters, the nine characters who they went to Cambridge University together, and they're about to graduate from university, and they have been in an acting troupe together, okay, throughout school, and it's almost time for them to graduate and go off on their different ways, right? Okay, so prologue is the nine in 1995. Okay, we read about them on the back cover. Then chapter 1, we have present day. And we're meeting the four. We're meeting Stevie and her three friends. We're introduced to Stevie Bell in chapter 1. And we also have a scene split, and we see the nine again in 1995 again. And that happens on page 24. We're not forgetting about them. Okay, we're diving back into them. Then we go to chapter 2, and we are back with Stevie in present day. And we also have a scene split, and we see the nine in 1995 again. Okay, so we're not losing track of our two storylines that are happening. Chapter 3, again, Stevie in present day. Then we have the nine in 1995, and we discover the murder. That chapter 3 is when the murder has happened, and we discover it like the morning after this hide and seek, this drunken hide and seek that we've had. Then we come back to chapter 4, Stevie in the present day. Chapter 5, Stevie in the present day. And she's gone to London, and we get to London in chapter 5. Okay, so we've got, and also in chapter 5, we have the scene split, and we have the nine in 1995. So it's chapter 5 where Stevie comes to London and the nine are in London, and we're combining our storylines now. Okay, things are starting to merge. All right, chapter 6, Stevie in present day London. Chapter 7, Stevie in present day London, and we get our first police report. So we're seeing one of the police reports, okay? All right, chapter 8, Stevie in present day London. Chapter 9, Stevie in present day London, and we're getting another police report. Police transcript. We're getting information from the police. All right, chapter 10, Stevie in present day London. Chapter 11, Stevie in present day London, and we get a second police transcript. Chapter 12, Stevie in present day London. Chapter 13 is Stevie in present day London, and another police transcript. Okay, you see there's like a pattern developing. Chapter 14, Stevie in present day London. Chapter 15, Stevie. And we get 2 police transcripts. Chapter 16 is Stevie and her friends. Chapter 17, Stevie, and this includes some police papers. Now she's looking at papers and reports. Chapter 18, Stevie and the nine. She does interact with them. She meets up with them in present day. Okay, we're in the future of the nine. We're in Stevie's present day. She meets up with them. Chapter 19, Stevie and the nine. Chapter 20, Stevie and the nine. Chapter 21, Stevie and the nine. And we do get to flashback. We do have a scene split. We flash back and we see the nine in 1995. Okay, because Maureen is just building it. Okay, chapter 22, Stevie and the nine. 23, Stevie and the nine. 24, Stevie and the nine. Chapter 25, Stevie and the nine. Chapter 26, Stevie and the nine. Chapter 27, Stevie in London. Okay, chapter 28, Stevie in London. Chapter 29, Stevie in London. Chapter 30, we're starting to wrap things up. Okay, we're starting to wrap things up. 31, we're wrapping things up. 32, we're wrapping things up. I don't want to say exactly what was going on there, but we're wrapping things up, okay? So you can kind of see that pattern. The way Maureen set things up was not just, okay, I'm going to show you what happened in 1995, and then we're going to slip over to, Stevie present day and how she's solving things. No. There's a mix of things happening. The narrative is, it's not exactly linear, but there's a linearness to it, if that makes sense. Okay, it was very well done, I would say. Very well done. Nicely done. I'm not going to tell you who done it. I'm not going to tell you things that happened. I'm just going to say that Maureen did a very nice job of building it up, of of just bringing you into the fact that there's a murder mystery, bringing you into the fact that Stevie is getting thrown into having to solve this mystery. And there's like there's a side plot, a side story going on where Stevie, who's already a little bit anxious, right? She's getting concerned about the fact that David, her boyfriend, is over here in London spending a whole lot of time with another gal. What's that about, right? So she's got a little bit of anxiety about that. There's a lot weighing on Stevie, and yet she uses her brain to figure out this mystery. Thumbs up for strong characters who use their brains. Thumbs up for a good mystery. I can highly recommend 9 Liars by Maureen Johnson with a glare on it. I can highly recommend 9 Liars by Maureen Johnson, whether you're doing a clock reading challenge or not. This is it would be considered a young adult novel because our protagonist, who does the mystery solving, is a young adult character. But we have adult characters throughout here doing nefarious things and whatnot. So it's kind of I would say it's a crossover. It's got one foot in young adult and one foot in regular contemporary, mystery fiction, right? So it's like a crossover, a blending of the genres, if you will. Yeah. All right. So thumbs up for blending the genres very well, very nicely. And thank you so much for tuning in.